Greedfall has just released on PS4, Xbox One and PC, so I thought I'd just give my first impressions on this game. I'm not scripting this whatsoever, so it is going to be a live commentary. And this video is for those people who are sitting on the fence and not sure whether to part with their cash. So hold 1 second. Don't buy this game just yet. Just hear me out to sort of hear what I think's good about this game and sort of the big issues about this game. And I think this game is one of those where if you do look past all the problems, bugs and issues, then you're going to have a fantastic experience. But if you can't look past sort of the bugs and issues, then you might not want to buy this game. So I will be coming to an overall conclusion. So first off, I just want to say a big thank you to the developers for giving me this review code. I proper no-life this. I got it like yesterday and I've played like 10 hours so far. And I can genuinely say I had a really good time playing this game. I didn't at one point think, oh, I'm just going through the motions here. There were points when I was getting a little bit bored here and there, but I will get into that throughout the video and sort of explain the story as well without giving any sort of spoilers. But the world in this game looks phenomenal. It looks absolutely beautiful. One thing I will say is it is like a picture, so you can admire it and see how beautiful it looks, but you can't really touch it. So it is one of those where you can't really interact with the world like games like Assassin's Creed, where you can traverse these massive buildings and you can swim through those rivers. You can't really interact with the world whatsoever. And that can be kind of annoying for those people who do like those open world games or games where they just have a little bit more choice, like say The Witcher 3, where you can take different routes or whatever. But with this game, it does very much hold your hand and it does say, you go this way pretty much. There's maybe 2 routes that you can take. Usually, it's only one way that you can get to a certain point, a certain waypoint for the missions or something. So that can get kind of annoying. So if you do like a bit more freedom in your RPGs, then this game isn't going to be for you. But other than that, it looks fantastic and they've done a great job in creating a good atmosphere. One thing you will notice going through the world is that there are a lot of reusing of assets. So you'll go to a building and think, I swear I've already been there. No, you haven't. You haven't been there. It's meant to be a new place, but they do tend to reuse a lot of the assets. So a lot of these big cities and buildings will look the same, which can sort of break the immersion again. So it would have been nice if they just changed it up just a little bit and just made some newer assets for these different locations, but it may have been down to money constraints. The combat in this game, now, I think it's very fluid. I think it's very nice to do. It's intuitive. It's good fun. You can parry, you can light attack, you can heavy attack, you can dodge, and it all just feels good to do. And I think that is down to the fact that the AI in this game, for the most part, are pretty effective. They're really difficult at times. Now, there was multiple times when I was struggling to defeat enemies where I had to just keep restarting missions and be like, I can't do this anymore. But the AI are challenging enough to keep this game fresh and exciting when sometimes you can get a little bit bored with the game at times, especially when you first start out with this game. For like the first 4 hours, I did find myself playing it and going through the motions a little bit. But with the combat, it does keep it nice and fresh and it does keep the game overall interesting to play. Now, the characters and dialogue I do want to talk a little bit about because there are some issues with this. Now, the characters overall, from what I've played so far, with the 10 hours that I've played, the characters are okay. They're not like the most memorable characters that you're ever going to see in a video game. But I think that's not really the issue for me. The voice acting is delivered quite nicely, but it's sort of let down with how they've implemented it into the game, because sometimes you just get, well, most of the time actually, the audio just cuts off for no apparent reason. It just cuts off at the end of the sentence. So you can't really, sometimes you can't even get a feel for what they're even saying, because sometimes you're not going to be looking at the screen all the time constantly. You might look at your phone or something and you just want to listen to the dialogue, but half the time it cuts out for no apparent reason. I don't know whether anyone else has had this issue, but for me it happened constantly throughout my play session. And also the lip syncing. It's terrible. It's absolutely atrocious. It's not done very well at all. And I think this should have been such a main important feature that they should have looked into. They should have looked into getting better motion capture, better lip syncing, because at the moment in its current state, which I don't think they're going to change it does kind of look like, say, GTA 5 when you can talk in the multiplayer with your headset, and it kind of just, it doesn't go with what you're saying over the mic, it just kind of moves your mouth. It's kind of like that in this game. So it is a bit of a shame because there is quite a lot of dialogue in the game, and it is well delivered. It's very professional how they've done it. It's just the lip syncing doesn't really do it for me. That does move me on to, say, player choice as well within the dialogue. So you do have multiple things that you can say, and you can ask certain bits to find more information out. So you can ask about the villagers, or you can ask about a particular person, or you can threaten people, or you can charm people, stuff like that. So it does give you a little bit of flexibility to how the story goes. I believe there is 2 endings, a good and a bad ending, and I'm not going to get into that because obviously I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But the things you do say does have an actual effect, and it can reduce relationships with a certain faction, or it can improve relationships with a certain faction with what you say. So it is a nice touch to sort of keep you engaged, because it can get at times a little bit boring just listening to a constant stream of dialogue. It can get a little bit boring, but you do also have the option to skip the dialogue as well. But I wouldn't highly recommend that if you're going to have like a casual playthrough. You can just listen to the dialogue. It is well done, and for the most part it is pretty interesting. And for me, the story really kicks in probably like 5 to 6 hours into my play session. The story really ramped up for me, and I was fully engaged with the story, and I just couldn't put this game down. I know I've said quite a few negative things about this game, but it's only just pointing out those things for me that just let this game down just a little bit from making it that more polished and just brilliant game that it could have been. It is a fantastic game, but I think there are quite a few issues just letting it down just a little bit. But there's a lot of content to delve into. You've got side quests, you've got main quests. The main quests alone are probably 18 to 20 hours. Then you've got the side quests as well. That'll take you up to probably like 40 hours. Then you've got all the weapons to unlock, the armor. You can change how your character looks. You've got the companions to recruit as well. So there is a lot of stuff to do. It would have been nice if you could properly explore the world as well, but for me, it just feels so static that I wouldn't want to go and sort of explore it as well. And mainly down to the fact that you can't walk in this game, you can only jog. You can't really do the things that you can do in Assassin's Creed, where you can just walk around and experience the world and really immerse yourself in that world, because you don't really have time to enjoy it. And for me, the world's just a little bit too static. The enemies that you come across, like I say, are very difficult to play against. However, you will, after quite a few hours of playing, you will notice that you face the same enemy over and over again. You'll be walking to different missions and you'll come across these 4-legged beasts, and you'll see them a lot of times. So it would have been nice to see maybe a bit more variety to this game. So overall, should you buy this game? Well, I would say 100% you should buy this game. It's a fantastic title. It's a really good action RPG. And now, for me, I'm not even a massive fan of action RPGs. I've played like Fable, I've played Skyrim as well. But for me, I hadn't really been interested in a lot of RPG games. It's not the sort of genre that I do play. But for me, this game intrigued me from the start, and I think it's a great game. It's got a nice story. The story is a bit slow moving, so it does take some while to sort of ramp up and get interesting. But when it does, it is a cool story. It's a cool game overall. The combat is great. The world is really nice to look at. The lines are delivered pretty well. The characters are quite interesting, but the only real issue for me is that lip syncing is pretty poor, and there are some sort of annoying bugs as well that do take you out of the immersion. And also the reusing of assets as well can just, again, take you out the immersion of this world. If I was going to rate this game, I'd probably give it a 7.5. It's a solid, stellar title that's definitely worth your money. If you did go on to enjoy this video, make sure to drop me a like and subscribe for more content like this. I'm going to be covering more games on this channel as well. So if you are new here and you want to see more content from me, I like doing these live commentary as well because I think it just gives your sort of raw thoughts, so you can get my thoughts on this game. They're not going to be scripted or anything, so I'm not going to miss things out. I'm just going to say it as it is, really. So until next time, have a good one.